Welcome back! I think that's going to be my new thing. What do you think?
Do it again.
Welcome back! Like that?
I like it.
Okay, cool. So, today, Elias, sir,
Anthony, a.k.a. Pepper.
boom.
Of course, it's every day, though, not just today, that we are that.
Correct. Elias, a.k.a. Eli, you know what I'm saying? Out here, got a green shirt on. He's got a Pokeball shirt on. Did you see the fitted I sent you? Or the snapback?
Yes. Yes.
It's serious.
They have a
It's
fitted
cool.
Ash Ketchum hat now. New era.
It's a snapback, so it's actually, like, show accurate.
Yeah, so now I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I'm getting my...
hi, everyone.
What
Welcome
up,
back
what up,
to,
what up?
Fuck, okay. This is the camera,
Yes.
because it's flipped upside down.
Yes. It's...
So, you know, you want to look at the camera, look right there.
Okay, I got you.
Look right there. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, we're coming back at you guys with another episode of In the Parking Lot. Welcome, my fellow loiterers. Do the SpongeBob.
6, 7, 8. Okay.
Welcome. Yeah, this is 8. We were talking about that earlier.
I had to count. I didn't know if I held up the right amount of fingers. I can math, I swear.
Yeah. So, this episode's definitely going to be coming out a lot closer to the last one, which is a good thing.
Consistency.
Consistency is awesome.
It's
I think
key.
we're definitely going to have to try to shoot for like once a week at least.
Yeah.
Definitely. Whether that be Sunday, Monday, Saturday, something like that.
Yeah.
Or a weekday. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
So, today in the parking lot, we, we're going to let you guys in on how we are, deep down inside. Like, we're going to, I was going to say we're going to touch you, but that sounds weird.
Just a little bit.
We're going to dig deep, and you guys are going to find out who the real Eli, the real Pep is.
Into ourselves.
So basically, we had this idea that we kind of agreed upon as far as, we talk about all these movies and we reference the comic books and stuff like that, but I don't think we really ever touched on, like, what got us into what we're into, whether that be comic books, movies, video games, anime, Pokemon, all that fun stuff, collectibles, things like that. Speaking of collectibles, my brand new pop pickup, a Toxin Walgreens exclusive, is now used as a camera mount. So that's always fun.
Yeah, stepping up in the world.
Kinda.
We have equipment.
We had to move because the camera was like weirdly close when we were like up here. It was like this is where it was earlier, like a second ago, and Pep was still all the way back there.
Yeah, I just kind of stayed.
But he kind of like
this is my
shifted.
Spot.
But now you get to see my semi gorgeous face, I guess.
Semi, come on.
Beautiful. I think I'm okay.
We are.
But yeah, so we had the idea of basically like, we'll hit it off with kind of like, we'll let you guys in on like how we are as people and why we're into what we're into, what we're currently into, things like that. Because we didn't really touch on it except a little bit, I would say, in the very first episode.
Maybe. Yeah, so today we're giving more of a little personal touch.
Yeah.
As opposed to a set topic. Today really depending on how we go, we could talk about a ton of things, but really the main gist of today's episode is about what got us, like you said, involved and liking the stuff that we talk about today.
Why we follow the fandoms that we follow. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, even though we're co-hosts, I'm going to be the gracious host and let you start off.
Oh, okay.
But what we're going to do is, I feel like we mention your channel a lot, and we kind of touch on Pokemon a little bit.
Yeah.
But I know that's a super big deal for you since you were little.
Yeah.
So, you want to give the kind folks at home maybe a little bit of background on why you're into it, and then from there we'll transition into like the obvious, the comic books, the movies, the collectibles, things like that. Because I got you to start buying Pops.
Yes.
Shout out Funko.
Yeah. Nah.
You could send us stuff. That would be super cool.
Definitely.
All 9 subscribers, make sure you send this video to Funko so they can send us stuff.
Yeah, definitely created a new addiction for me with the Funkos, so I do appreciate it. But I also got you buying cards again, so
yeah,
I got you back. Not as much.
Right in the beginning, it was very, very serious as far as buying cards. I was almost for every one pack you were buying, I was buying one.
Yeah.
Or I guess for every 2, because of your channel, I was buying one. Something like along those lines. I almost recently thought about spending $40 on a set just because of a pin. because of a Blastoise pin.
It is cool though.
Speaking of though, so I have the Pikachu
I forgot
one.
the Mewtwo pin.
You're good. Don't worry about it. I'll get to it. But what I was going to get to, and we also touched on this because of the hats. So New Era makes a blank fitted cap, right?
Yeah.
And it's a black one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy it. Just going to pin it up. All my pins. I'm just going to put them on.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I think that'd be cool. Like, yeah. That would be a cool movie hat / going out hat / maybe if I have enough by Comic-Con, that hat would be worn.
Yeah.
Cool stuff like that. And they're not as expensive as like normal fitteds. I think normal fitteds are like $38. I think they're $27.
That's not bad.
So it's not as bad. It's like having a logo on the front.
Right.
And I'll take the cool Guardians pins that I have, and then I have a Pikachu pin. I have some other stuff. I have what else I have? I have a sneaker pin. I was thinking about buying a Shenron pin a couple days ago. That still might happen, but maybe not right now. But we're getting off track.
I was going to say, do you want to start?
No, because pins is like a new thing that I'm into. But
oh boy,
yeah, it's dangerous because they make a lot.
Yeah.
But hit it off. We got sidetracked. We took a little left, but we eventually made that right and came back. I took a little.
I'm just kidding.
It's cool. It happens. So.
All right. Well, I guess.
Mess your Pokemon.
So I guess we'll start that way. And honestly, that actually. The Pokemon, for me, actually kind of got me started into everything that I'm into today.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was pretty much, I mean, when did it, 99 the cards started coming out?
Yeah, I think 99 is when the first set was.
So what were we, 6?
Yeah.
93, right?
Yeah, 93.
Yeah,
yep.
So, alright, so being 6 and seeing all the cards come out, and I just love the look of the Pokemon and everything. Still to this day, don't know how to play the card game. Still to this day, don't know. It's a very complicated card game, and especially for a 6-year-old, there was no way I was getting it.
I kind of know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh's a lot more simple as
it's a lot
compared to Pokemon.
I guess watered down, but there's a lot more intricacies in like what cards you're playing.
Yeah.
What's happening. But then again, because we don't know how to play Pokemon, maybe there's a bunch of intricacies, words in Pokemon that we just don't know about.
And you're probably right. But I started pretty much... Actually, it was... A lot of this comes from my dad, too. Like, because my dad knew that I liked the cards. Right. So, literally, like, every time we would go somewhere, he would buy me a pack. Like, buy me a pack here, buy me a pack there. And, again, not knowing how to play the game, I just collected them. And what really got me hooked, just on the Pokemon aspect, was... I think we were driving to the shore one summer, and my dad bought me a jungle booster set of Pokemon. So it was the second or third set to come out of Pokemon. So
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with your word on this. I can't fact check for
because it was base set and then Fossil Jungle. I just can't remember which one came out first, either Fossil or Jungle. I don't really know off the top of my head, and if anybody knows, let us know. But
comments down below.
Yeah, but I remember we were driving over a bridge going to the shore, and I'm opening the pack and I'm going through the cards, and all of a sudden I'm going card, and there were 11 in the original base packs.
How much is in it now?
10.
Okay.
So, I think with the...
What the heck, Pokemon Company?
I think with the 11 cards in a pack, the rare is 3 from the back.
Interesting.
I'm pretty... Because that's like the card trick.
Yeah, the card trick is what, 4 now for Sun and Moon?
Yeah, 4 for Sun and Moon. So... I'm going through, and this is before I even knew about all that, obviously, because I just recently found out about the card tricks and everything. So I'm going through, and then all of a sudden I see something really shiny. And I look, and it's a holographic Nidoqueen.
Oh, cool.
Now, that's the first ever holographic card I've ever pulled. I still have it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is not in the best condition.
Yeah,
So...
I know I used to put baseball cards in bike tires.
Yeah, and the spokes and everything. Yeah. So that got me like really into it. Like that ever since that first holo, it was like I remember freaking out. I'm like, Dad, I got a holo. Look at it. And from there, it was just, I just fell in love with it. And then, obviously, the anime show came out. And
was that 99 still, or was that 2000, more 2000?
I think it was 9... It might have been 2000. No, it couldn't have been, because the first movie was called the movie 2000. So the show had to come out first.
When the cards came out.
So probably 99, and then
the cards came out.
And then it was like it had to be like an all big premiere type deal. But so I got into the show and then started collecting more cards, and my cousin Steve, he also collected them with me as well. But what our dads did, my dad and my uncle, they kept them in binders, and we put them all in order, and we used to collect the shadowless ones. Like I still have, like I did the video, I still have shadowless first edition ones and everything like that. So that really got me into the Pokemon aspect. Like just pulling that one card got me into doing what I do today, and now I have my own YouTube channel for my Pokemon cards. I do openings, and it's a lot of fun. It's very nostalgic too. Yeah. So it really brings me back to being 6, 7, 8 years old.
No, for sure. And I think the nostalgic part of things is what really like hooks you on stuff.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I know like for certain things it's like kind of cliche, but honestly, because it is like nostalgic, it's connected to a feeling. Yeah. Like for instance, I think when I recently went to the water ice factory, shout out, the smell in there hit me kind of in a different way. Yeah. And it kind of reminded me when I first moved here in this area and first went there first. My picture's like on the wall because I was like a water ice sponsored baseball team. Oh, it's super cool. So
that's awesome.
So it's cool that like things of nostalgia and the things we collect now are connected to like little veins and things like that bring us back to our past. So, and it's cool that your dad and your uncle and your cousin and stuff were so supportive of it as well.
Oh yeah, and then
that's super awesome.
And then just even from that, because Pokemon is still such a huge deal today. Yeah, and especially when it first came out.
For sure.
Like I was going through school, and a lot of my friends in school growing up collected the cards too, and like I remember in recess it would just like the show, like act like we're throwing a Pokeball, like Pikachu go, and we would pretend to do the battles the way they do it in the anime. Yeah, and it just built the love for it, and then from there, honestly, just going away from Pokemon because of already being involved with that kind of aspect. Even again, my dad showed me like the heroes and stuff like that, and I remember like eventually like getting into it. I think his favorite superhero was Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
So he showed me all of that, like, and that's one of the reasons why.
Your dad still has some original Iron Man stuff, does he not? Or did I make that up?
I have it.
You have it.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Is it? I don't mean to cut you off, but is that the stuff from like when he was a kid?
No, it was stuff that we actually went out together and we bought.
Okay, cool.
So there used to be, and I'm so mad that it closed because it was a really cool place. There was a place on the Black Horse Pike down in Turnersville. Okay. Called Team D.
Okay.
And it was an old collectibles place.
Oh, okay.
Comics, like you name it. Like it was.
Anything collectible was there.
Yeah, it's very hard to find an old time comic book shop.
Yeah, for
anymore.
Sure.
And that one was one of the ones.
To kind of like add that, we went there recently. All Things Fun, I guess, would be the closest to that kind of nostalgic stuff. They didn't have comic books really, but they had
a lot of the collectibles,
Super Nintendo video games. They had old toys. They had some Migos figures from way back in the day. They had like Hulk Hogan wrestling figures with the little guys with like the big limbs and stuff.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
We gotta go back because I follow them on Instagram. They got a lot of cool stuff recently.
We'll definitely have to check them out. But I remember one time my dad and I went into the store and we were just looking for stuff, and I pulled out an original Iron Man comic book.
Wow.
And it was, and I should have looked at it because I knew we were doing this, and I wanted to bring this up, and I should have. So pretty much the premise of the comic book, the storyline in this one was there was a sorcerer. Maybe it was the Mandarin. No, it wasn't the Mandarin. I don't think it was the Mandarin, but it was Iron Man against a sorcerer.
Okay.
And what he did was he conjured a stone giant of himself, like the sorcerer himself.
Interesting.
So it was Iron Man fighting the stone giant, and then once he defeated the stone giant, he had to go to the sorcerer to make sure he would stop, like he could cut it out so it wouldn't happen again.
Right.
Honestly, I've read it time and time again. It's such a great, like, I love it. Like, seeing the old animations and everything like that. It was really cool. And then just from there, I remember we went to Universal one time, and, you know, have you been to Universal?
Yeah.
So you know how they have the Marvel setup?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, anytime I go there, I go into that store just to see what they have.
Right.
So there was a hand-drawn Iron Man picture.
Oh, cool.
Green background, and I mean, this thing is beautiful, but it was a limited edition.
Right.
There was only, I think, 400 made.
Interesting.
And me and my dad bought one.
Right.
I can't remember what number it is out of the set, but we have it now. Yeah. And also from that store, this was around the time that the Tobey Maguire, when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, it was around the time of the second Spider-Man movie with Doc Ock and everything like that. Right. There was a movie poster in the store.
Right.
But it was signed by, because the movie poster was Spider-Man holding Mary Jane, and in his eye, in Spider-Man's eye on the mask, you saw Doc Ock.
Cool. Okay, I think I kind of know what exact image you're talking about.
So I'll have to show you because I still have it, but it's a huge poster. It's pretty much like he's got a picture in the background, which is what I'm referencing.
And you can totally see it. Just move to the right a little bit.
Yeah, that one.
This one.
That one.
That one right
there. Yeah, but it's over here.
Shout out to Fire Ferret. Shout out Legend of Korra. But continue.
So it's probably like a little longer than that and a little wider.
Okay.
But
it was like a legit ass movie poster.
Oh yeah, it's big
for sure.
And it's signed by Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Yeah. So next time you're over, I'll have to show you because it is really cool. It's really cool. But we bought that from the store, and it's just like from there, you start paying attention to this stuff and you start getting into it, and it's like, oh my gosh, like this is really cool. Now, I'll be the first to admit, like growing up. Like, once I got, honestly, like in elementary school and all that, like, I was always into the Pokemon, and we were doing all that stuff. High school came around, middle school, high school came around, and I always liked it, but the problem was, like, there was nobody else around me that liked it.
So it was tough to, like, talk about and
stuff. Yeah, so, and my uncle, the one, Steve's dad, he put it to me the best way possible.
Shout out Steve.
Stove. He put it out. He told, like, laid it all out there the best way to describe it that I honestly I couldn't think of. He told me, he was like, and this is all, like, no offenses to anybody or anything like that, but he was like,
don't take anything we say too literal.
And it's not bad. I just kind of made it sound like a lot worse than it was already going to be.
Awful.
But he was like, you were a nerd.
Yeah.
But nobody knew you were a nerd.
Right. It's kind of like low-key undercover.
Right. And it's not that, again, like, it's not that, like, I did it on purpose, but it's just, like, the way we are with the movies now, like, I would go see it, but then it was just, like, did you like the movie? Like, with whoever I saw it with. Did you like the movie? Yeah. Cool. That was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, there was no 3-hour conversation after the movie in the parking lot.
There was no podcast before podcast.
There was no podcast.
Right.
So, it was just trying to find, like, the right people to, like, start really divulging into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, like I said, in, like, middle school, high school, it all kind of, it just kind of, like, faded. At least for me, because of who I hung around. And plus, I started playing sports, so it was kind of like...
Right. You were, like, the opposite of the stereotype of nerd.
I guess
you
could
started
say that.
leaning towards not necessarily the jock thing, but assumably the people who were still into the stuff and openly into it probably like, oh, that guy Ant's a jock. He's playing football. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so it was more or less like I always played sports, but I still loved the stuff.
Right.
The only thing was I never had anybody to talk about it with.
Right.
So
that's a huge thing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So it was just kind of like it was always in the back seat.
Right.
It was still there, but it was always in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And then started working at Nike, which is how the two of us met. And we started figuring out who liked what, and we all started our whole group that we all started liking the same stuff, and now we go see every Marvel movie, everything like that. So, and it's cool because, like I said, we can always have the conversations, and obviously we have a podcast now, so we love to talk about it.
Right.
So it was just trying to find with me that right group to have these types of conversations with, and it's awesome. I love it, and honestly, and I'll say it to anybody out there, who's all into, and there's a lot more hardcore fans than I am.
For sure.
So,
people on Reddit who are you think they have stock in the company, how hard they're going for it and stuff. And
just to anybody younger listening or anything like that, it's don't ever be ashamed or anything like that. Don't ever let anybody put you down. You like what you like. So you go for it.
Yeah. Let that nerd flag fly, kids.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's because you do what you love.
Yeah.
When you do what you love, you have a great time. And if you let anybody get you down for it, then, one, shame on them for even doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Two, you can't let people get you to that. Because if you let them mold you, then it's all over.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of got a little
No, you're good. That is kind of a segue to kind of what we were talking about the other day, as far as, oh man, I just lost my train of thought that quickly. Don't get old. Yeah, okay, so what I was going to say was, it's kind of a good segue to the point of we both kind of talked about how we wish we would have gotten to things a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That's where I was going. Whether that be for me personally, drawing this even could have been maybe a little bit earlier, but also the things we're into. I feel outside of we kind of both have similar stories, and I guess this will be a segue into kind of my part and how I got into this community. We both kind of got introduced to stuff through our fathers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a similarity that we have. But my first one, obviously you talked about Pokemon cards, was your major thing.
Yeah, that was my doorway.
I think my doorway was X2.
The movie?
The movie.
Honestly, I would have to agree, because those are some of the first... Honestly, I watched it before I even knew it was Marvel.
Yeah. So, okay, so so remember that, kids. But also, I didn't even see it when it was in theaters. My dad got it on DVD. We still have the DVD. I'll show it to you later. And he put it in, and I was just enamored. Whoa, this guy's doing this. And
what is going on?
What's going on with all this really cool stuff? Whoa. And then from there, my dad talked about because I never really liked reading as a kid.
Yeah.
And I think from a young age, my mom and my dad both knew I was a little more visual than my sister, who can really, not saying she's not visual, but I would say she's a little more analytical than I am.
Right.
I have to see it in front of me and be able to mess with it or work with it or whatever.
Yeah.
And she kind of felt the same way, but she was also able to sit down and really do those math equations, read that book. She was into reading since a little young age, and I never was really into it.
Yeah.
But I think
I had to really be interested.
So, okay, so that's a great thing, because this is where I'm going next.
Yeah.
I think my dad connected the dots in his head. He was like, "Hey, these characters that you're watching on screen, they're in books, right?" And I'm like, "Books." Cue sound effects. I was like, "What are you talking about, books?" He said, "Yeah, comic books." And I'm like, "Really? They're in things that you like in physically in front of you? He's like, yeah, like for sure, like. And I think he might have found some at like Berlin Flea Market or something, which is like a local antique flea market.
The Berlin Mart?
Yeah. I think he might have found some back in the day, and they were cheap enough that he just brought them to me.
Yeah, we would always go there.
Yeah.
That was a great place back then.
And still they have this one really old collectibles like storefront. It's like an older, like inside, like the sign. I can remember the sign since I was a kid. It was a sign. It was like the old school Batman with like the blue and gray.
Yeah.
But kind of more. It was in between like Batman, I guess 66, like the first one,
right,
and the one right after. But it was like kind of like strong jawline as far as the comic books are concerned. Strong jawline, blue and gray uniform.
Yeah.
And it was like it's on the sign. If we ever feel like going, I'll show you like what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, and also they have the vendors outside that sell, you know, from lawn equipment to collectibles to car parts to tires.
Yeah.
It's
a farmer's market.
It's a farmer's market.
Literally a farmer's market.
Excuse me. So they have a lot of stuff. But I think he just grabbed books. Like he grabbed some that were in X2, like your Wolverines, your X-Men books in general.
Yeah.
Like Mysterio, things like that. And then kind of just grabbed them because I guess they're like a couple bucks for like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And just was like, here, read this. And I think the first one I read that I was really into was Wolverine.
How could you not?
Not sure which one to be specific because it was a very long time ago. But we're talking like mid to early 90s. We were both born in 93. So think of kind of like that timeline of X-Men books, Wolverine books, whatever the case may be. Not talking like Golden Age, Silver Age stuff because we weren't born that way. No. And I'm pretty sure my dad wasn't into comic books like that. But, so he gave them to me, and that's how I started reading. Was through the comic books. And, you know, X-Men led to Wolverine. The movie led to X-Men books. Yeah. X-Men books led to Wolverine. Wolverine led to, I want to say Black Panther was next for me. And it was also a big deal for me because, obviously, minority kid.
Yeah.
And, you know,
definitely.
In the book, it's this guy of color from, you know, Wakanda, but it was something different. It wasn't the Superman white guy black hair. It wasn't the Bruce Wayne's old white guy black hair.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, the Robins with the little guy blonde blue eyes type stuff. So kind of was the inclusivity of it was kind of cool. So that hooked me on that, and then you know that kind of threw me into comic books a little bit, but also like obviously we were a super heavy like Marvel comic book thing podcast, but also around the time, you know, wrestling was happening, your Attitude Era stuff. Yeah. I remember watching that with my dad when I was a kid, like little bits, because obviously I was a kid. Yeah. And then when it was on UPN, like SmackDown, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, when he'd come out in the lowrider and all that really cool stuff.
I lie, I cheat, I steal.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so all of that was hand in hand, but same thing. I started playing sports a little bit more. My dad didn't want me inside as much. Go play some sports. Yeah. I started first sport he taught me how to play was basketball. Fell in love with basketball. Still not very good at it, but I still enjoyed playing it. And that led to, you know, football in the yard and things like that. But going back to what you said, it kind of was like, as you got a little bit older, you drifted away from it. Yeah. Not because you didn't like it anymore, but more or less the things you liked, you were able to share with your dad. Or in your case, your cousin, your uncle, and things like that. And, you know, you didn't have anybody to really talk to about it anymore. So then, I would say from, like, middle school-ish to, like, the start of high school, even towards the tail end, I kind of just stopped doing everything. It was, I was bad at it, but it was, oh my god, I wonder how I could talk to this girl. Yeah. As stupid as it sounds, because it's such a, like, menial thing, like, you don't want to lose sight of yourself. That's something you learn when you're older, but you moved away from it, so the wrestling, I stopped watching the wrestling. I didn't read the comic books. The movies I would still see occasionally, because Matt and Zach would still occasionally want to see it, so I'd go see them. So you had a couple people, but then video games kind of picked up in that kind of
yeah, that's true.
time
I totally
frame.
forgot about that.
So
I don't know how, but I forgot.
You still you'll still go out and try to play that Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
That awful Spider-Man game on PlayStation.
Yep.
And then that kind of merges your both worlds, but it was the Halos, it was the Call of Duties, it was the Maddens, it was the NBA Streets.
See,
it was going back even earlier, it was the Crash Bandicoots.
I was gonna say, believe it or not,
it was the Spyros. Going back even earlier, it was the Mortal Kombat. It was the Sega Genesis stuff.
Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, just Super Mario and all that.
And around the same time, that's my first video game system. And the reason why we're kind of off track moving around is because this podcast is very Marvel heavy.
Yeah.
But I left it so far. Exactly.
Far.
So I'm leaving it up to interpretation as far as if a video game comes out or some cool Pokemon stuff comes out.
Yeah. We've done shows. We did a show for the Pokemon movie.
Yeah, we did a show for the Pikachu movie and stuff like that. So we're leaving it open, and obviously, all of our friends, Marvel is the thread that kind of holds us together, as far as MCU.
Yeah.
But all of us are so into other things. I know Brandon's super into DC stuff, Batman, Superman, things like that.
Yeah.
Us kind of, but not as much as he was. You have Denzel, who kind of linked with you about Philly sports stuff.
Yeah.
And things like that. So we all kind of have offshoots and things like that, but the thing that held us together was the Marvel movies, the comic books, and things like that.
Right, because what's now, and just quick intervening, what's the next superhero movie?
I don't know.
Is it the Joker?
Would it be the Joker?
It's because I think
that
that's
this year?
I think that's coming out in October.
The only thing I can think of is not a superhero movie. It's that Quentin Tarantino movie, and then Stuber. The only movies in my head right now.
I think the Joker is coming out in October.
So we'll probably talk about that as well.
Yeah, because honestly, that's definitely something that we could do a show on. Especially because
we saw The Killing Joke.
Yeah, but we didn't do a podcast.
This was before we did the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
But this is kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about as far as comic books are kind of what we linked in and why we're so comic heavy on this podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think that might have been the very first thing we went out to see as a group was The Killing Joke. Or was it Doctor Strange was first and then The Killing Joke?
I think
because I know the first MCU movie for us, I'm pretty sure was Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
When it was us as a group, it was me, you, Denzel, Brandon, and Mark.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Zach didn't really come out as much. No. Paul, all those guys, they didn't come out as much.
So it comes out October 4th
of this year.
Of this year.
Oh wow, we're gonna be in New York.
Oh yeah, we are gonna be in New York.
Comic-Con, yeah. Fucking, what day is that? October 4th.
I think it's a Thursday.
Excuse me for the fucking...
I think that's the Thursday.
So this will kind of work out. I just recently sold my Saturday ticket, so we could both come up
Friday.
Okay, perfect. So I sold my Saturday ticket for New York Comic Con. You struck out on the Saturday ticket, so maybe on Saturday, since we're going to be there, we'll stay within where we're staying if we are, in fact, staying in New York.
And go see it.
And go see Joker.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be something to do. Okay, so all that aside.
Yeah, we sidetracked.
So, arguably, I think I could speak for you about this as well. High school, and then for me going into college, for you going right into work after high school, because you went to college for a semester or a year?
A year. I went for
so
a year.
So you went for a year.
Yeah.
Arguably, that time, we weren't really into anything. Would you agree? As far as
besides the movies,
as far as
everything else,
as
no.
comic
Movies,
books,
yes,
the trading cards and all this other stuff.
Yeah, everything. Because I'm telling you honestly, and like I told you, I've always loved Pokemon. There was a big gap in time when I stopped collecting the cards.
Yeah.
I actually started collecting the cards again
from the gap.
Right. So I started collecting from the Dragon Majesty set, which is a subset in the Sun and Moon era.
Right.
But I did that last year. So I've been collecting cards again for about a year now.
Right.
Maybe a little longer. No, longer than that. Because I think I did it in 2017.
And I think you did a little bit of card collecting and card buying as far as like when we would go to like little local Comic-Cons and stuff randomly before you started the channel.
Yeah. Yeah,
it wouldn't be as like
no, yeah, it would be like
such a scale. Like it would be a pack or oh, this card's oh my god, I remember these cards, things like that. So like little seeds to bring us back.
Yeah, so I started collecting again with the Dragon Majesty, and now ever since then I've been collecting again, and just now I'm kind of exploring some of the older sets that I missed.
Right.
Obviously not the ones that are going to cost me an arm and a leg, because a lot of those
big
sets
set, really.
A lot of those sets cost a lot of money. A ton of money.
So this is I mean, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Well, I'm just going to say, like, I'll put it to you this way. A base set booster pack, just a regular base set, is going for $100. Just one booster pack. Yeah. And some of the newer older sets, if that makes sense, are worth more than that. Because for some reason, and maybe it's the thing with Unbroken Bonds that now it's out of print.
Yeah.
Maybe when it first came out, it wasn't in print that long. So
that and maybe
so they're a little more rarer sets.
And also, I feel like the resurgence of when Pokemon Go started, like in its inception, that kind of sparked the Pokemon nerve again.
Oh, definitely without a doubt.
So then that's kind of. Which is why, like this, the in between time between.
I didn't even think of that.
Between base and Pokemon Go, I would say would be like, that's like the more expensive stuff because people didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
So stores would clearance them or get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then when Pokemon Go came back out and it was the original, what was that 155?
151.
151. That was like, oh, this is awesome. I remember how cool this was. Oh, wait, there's cards, too.
Yeah.
So let me start buying some stuff.
And you know what? I can't believe I didn't even think of that, because I've been playing Pokemon Go since it came out.
Since inception.
So 2016, when it came out, I got it the first day. I was waiting for it because we
all did.
Yeah, because me and also a kid that I worked with at my job now, we were both like, yo, this is coming out, like, let's get it. And we all did the same thing at Nike, but it was like, yo, this is coming out. Are you ready? Like, and we downloaded it, even with all the problems that it had. Remember that in the beginning, like the server kept crashing.
Yeah.
I still was able to download it the first day.
Side note. Oh, with that being said, I remember there being a meme that was like, anyone who was born before X date, get off the servers. You guys don't even know who Pikachu is. So I thought that was really funny. I remember. That actually showed up on my Facebook memories because I think I shared that photo or something.
Yeah,
which is funny.
But getting to Pokemon Go, where I was going with that, it actually, like, I think now that I think about it, that's what got me back into Pokemon.
Okay, so perfect segue.
I still play the game. Like, I still I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
I still play, and I've been going. We were waiting, and that's what I thought about too with Pokemon Go. It's like, we've been waiting for this our entire lives.
For sure.
And now that it's there, it's like I have to play. And honestly, they do now. It wasn't as in depth as it is now. They're on Gen 4, and there's a lot more tasks. They give you in-game tasks to do, so it makes it a little more interesting. Plus, you still have to, unless you're cheating with a jailbroken phone, or you actually can go everywhere to get every Pokemon, which some of them are regional, so it's a lot tougher. It's tough to get them all. So it's just being able to find them all, and that's what I think, to me, is a little more appealing to that game, to Pokemon Go now. But what it did was, it brought a lot, and you'll hear, like, if you are a PokeTuber or anything like that, a lot of the bigger guys like Real Breaking Nate, Leonhardt, they've said it before too, that Pokemon Go got a lot of the original fans, like the ones who were around when it came out. It brought them back into the Pokemon world, and I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I knew where I was going with it, but words got in my way.
Okay, so this is kind of a good alley-oop to me. So, okay, so you would argue that Pokemon Go got you back into stuff.
Yes.
So
the card set was Dragon Majesty.
So going back to me, what got me back into comic books and stuff was I was maybe mid-sophomore year. my roommate Cody, who you've met,
yes,
a while ago, on my birthday. Awesome guy. Shout out Cody. I don't know if you're watching this, but if you are, awesome. Thank you. But he was still reading comic books. Like,
oh, okay.
He read all the way through, like, The Gap and stuff. The Gap, so to speak. And then I think we were talking about something. Must have been the movies or maybe comic books in general. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what are they kind of up to these days? And he's like, what kind of shit are you into? So I kind of told him, like, you know, I like the funny action stuff, and I like, you know, I like good art and things like that. Because, you know, drawing never really left me, but I did stop kind of the same time with comic books and all that other stuff. So he's like, all right, cool. Perfect. So then he was like, he pulled it up on his laptop. He pulled up Deadpool Classics.
Oh, man.
And he was like, read these. And I'm like, I don't really know. But he's like, listen, dude, this is exactly what you said that you're into. Yeah. And he's like, I know you haven't read in a while and things like that, but this was late 90s, early 2000s that came out. And there was an omnibus he downloaded on his computer. Like
okay.
The PDF files.
Right.
So he was like, read this. And he's like, I promise you'll get back into comic books, like, right now, after you read a couple. So I read a couple. And then I was like, this was happening the whole time I wasn't into comic books? Like,
where have I been?
Exactly. And then when that happened, it got me back into buying books. There's a local comic store to where I was in accordance to Stockton. Shout out Stockton. And the Hamilton Mall, which is like, it's Hamilton, New Jersey. It's not too far from Absecon, though, but Atlantic City suburbs, basically. So we'd go in, same as going back to what we were talking about with nostalgia. They had the Batman the animated series playing on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
They had a section in the back of the right. So you walk in the store, directly to your right, there would be like video game collectibles, and then behind like this little barricade wall thing, there was dollar boxes. And in those dollar boxes, there was all classic books. I'm talking like X-Men 93. Oh. Not like the issue 93, but in that time era.
Right. Because they did that. They did that a lot. They did the years, like the year that it came out. They did that in the title with it.
Exactly. So, you know, then you start going through, and like I said, he's still collecting, so he's looking for stuff. But now I'm like, my head's on a swivel. I'm just looking at all the stuff around me, like, holy crap! I remember that show.
There's so much that it's like spinning.
And then like, on top of that, they had some older toys and collectibles in the back room where the dollar books were. So you're seeing Batman animated figures. Remember the little guys are like this big? It was like Mecha Batman, literal Batman,
that is awesome.
Poison Ivy, all those things. And then your old Iron Man figures, your old Wolverine, all this other stuff. You know, in the 90s, they did all types of toys for everything. Like, a character could have just mentioned somebody, and that person had an action figure.
Yeah.
So that sparked me back into the movies, more so than I was before. Right. Because I was still seeing them occasionally, but not as much. Right. And also, it kind of sparked me back into books. And then I started working at the school, and finally, I found the people that were into what I was into. So finally, I'm able to talk to people. Yeah. Finally, like, we could go out and watch them.
All my life.
Exactly. They're giving me off stuff, and I'm like, all the knowledge that you're talking is coming back now. It's like in waves. It's ridiculous. Exactly. So then that kind of set me up. Like, we're going into working at the store. I was already still buying books. I already was still watching the movies still. I was already into the stuff more so. And then it's like, oh my God, it's like I never left. Because then I met you, I met Brandon, I met Denzel. Definitely. I met Zach, but Zach kind of like in the middle, like he's definitely...
We molded him into
we for sure...
We brought him into the family. We for sure
molded him into a fandom. Yeah. But then like, as soon as that happened, it's like the floodgates opened. Oh yeah. You started, nerd was starting to become cool. Yeah. There's a lot of like, there's t-shirts, there's posters, there's hoodies, vintage. There's the Funko Pops. We'll get into Funko Pops in a little bit as far as things that we collect. But all this stuff came through. Like, it was cool to be who you are now.
Yeah.
And, like, and you would see it, like, the dudes who were, like, strictly about, oh, I'm not reading comics, they're for little kids. They were the ones going out seeing the MCU movies, and they were the ones geeking out just as much as you are. Who read the books, but they came fresh off of, like, an Eagles game or something.
Yeah.
So then they watched the movie, and then you're discussing, and, you know, theaters were full. Pokemon Go was happening. Groups of people were going to parks, and there's a Venusaur over here, and we're all running to where the Venusaur's
like
at and all this other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just like, because I'm also thinking of other stuff. It's just like, you know, like you're talking about what got you into it and what you did. Like, you know what another big one for me was when I was little? Not Marvel, not superheroes, anything like that. Lord of the Rings. I was a very big fan of Lord of the Rings.
So touching on that, Star Wars was my, like, outside thing. And I'm not, please, Star Wars fans, don't kill me. I am not the biggest fan. I don't know everything about every movie. I don't know people's names or how to, you know, I don't know all of that. I know a little bit of it, but I don't know all of it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Star Wars was, like, my kind of thing. And obviously I watched the Lord of the Rings and stuff too.
Yeah, I love that.
I think I personally connected more with the Star Wars. Yoda is awesome. Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu, it was awesome. Yeah. He had a purple lightsaber. Who has a purple lightsaber? No one does.
There's only a few. I don't know much about Star Wars, but all the colors meant something. All the colored sabers meant something.
Yeah,
they didn't just give him a purple saber like, just to give it to him.
Wasn't it like red was dark side?
Green and blue had their own separate meanings, but
I think
those
blue
were the
was
ones
more the
with
light
the force.
side.
Those were the ones with the force.
Green might have been people with like the force, because like Yoda had it.
Yeah, maybe. And I know so
Anakin
purple
had it at one point.
So purple.
Yeah.
And I learned this from a guy who's way more into Star Wars than I am. I'm not 100% sure if
we're not experts.
Yes, I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting this right. But the meaning to the purple saber is someone who mastered both the Force and the dark side.
Interesting.
So that's why
that makes Samuel Jackson so much fucking cooler.
So that's why in the newer movies, did you see any of the newer ones? Not the spin-offs.
Okay, so as far as like the episodic ones,
yes,
I saw a couple of them. I think I missed New Hope.
So Snook,
okay,
Master Snook.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that it was possibly Mace Windu.
Interesting.
It was I remember reading it because it was a fan theory. It was a fan theory going around because in the movies you never actually saw him die. Like Lord Sidious tossed him out a window, pretty much. Right. And all he did was fall.
Right.
But you never saw anything else. Like, you don't know if he landed
if he has the force, they could, like, force jump and all
exactly. You don't know if he landed on, like, a ship or anything like that. Yeah. So, but that's what the purple one means, and that's really cool.
That's awesome. But go back to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so
I'm interested.
That also, like, because I remember, like, me and my dad would go to these movies all the time.
Right.
Lord of the Rings with, like, Iron Man in 2008. But, like, so...
But now we're going to step away from comics.
Yeah, let's get into other things.
Other fandoms. We could touch on like other collectibles,
definitely
things like that.
So like once the Lord of the Rings came out, like I was watching those movies, then the toys, and I even had a Lord of the Rings chess set.
Which
was so cool.
That's super sweet.
Something else.
I wonder if you still find that.
You probably can. But they have like it was only like it was like the one I had was a toy one. Like it was an actual it was a chess set, but it wasn't like
like super official like wooden.
It wasn't wooden pieces or metal pieces. It was like almost like a toy.
Because I've seen like Star Wars ceramic
I have a Mario chess set.
Yeah, when it's like molded,
but they're like little
figures.
toys.
Yeah.
So that, and from there, like something else that I used to do when I was a kid. Like, and this kind of is like something I personally like to do. That's, I guess, whatever. I'll just get into it. So, I used to watch TV, movies all the time.
No judgment zone, bro.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love it.
Sorry, I just had to insert that.
I used to do impressions. Not used to, because I still do.
Yeah.
So I used to not impressions. I used to every time I would watch something.
Yeah.
I would imitate
what you saw.
What I saw. So, like,
for lack of a better word, impressions.
Ow. Oops, sorry. Just got a cramp in my foot.
Stretch it out.
So, I used to, So, I would imitate what I would watch.
Okay.
I would know all the words to every movie that I loved and all this and that. My grandma used to say to me all the time, if you could remember your schoolwork like you could remember the lines to this movie, you'd be a genius.
I was like that with music. I can give you full verses, bars, hooks. What's 10 times 2 plus 5 minus 6 divided by the second 5 to the second power? I couldn't remember it. But
what was the first number?
Yeah,
exactly. I was the same way. But like Lord of the Rings, and that's kind of like what one of the best voices I can do is Smeagol, like Gollum.
Okay.
So you know the character I'm talking about. So it's just
you want an exclusive?
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm definitely gonna do it. Like that's why I brought it up. I kind of want to like drop it on there.
Exclusive.
Yeah, this is the first time like I'm doing voices, but it was just like you would always see him and you heard it, and it's just like a distinct voice. And I forget the name of the actor who did it, but he
use your Googles.
Oh yeah, duh. He played Ulysses Claw in Avengers.
Yeah.
He was.
I remember you saying that when we went to see it.
He was Caesar in the new Planet of the Apes movies.
I never got into Planet of the Apes. It's always been cool. I've never really gotten into it though.
I just watched Andy Serkis.
Okay.
I just watched the last one about 2 weeks ago. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great, but it was good. I liked it.
But also like the way back, like in the 60s or 70s or whenever it first
My
came
dad
out.
showed me them like years ago, and
I
was like, wow, these are pretty cool. But the movies now aren't anywhere near what those were. Like they're remakes, but not remakes.
Yeah.
So getting back to the Gollum thing.
LOR, baby.
Yeah. So I would always like watch things and then imitate. So like I would see Smeagol and Gollum, same character. Excuse me, and like I said, just a distinct voice. So I always tried it. I would try it, and then eventually I would get into it. So it was like he would always say like one of the main things he would say is like sneaky little hobbitses, because he had like he couldn't speak in like he couldn't say the words properly. So it's like sneaky little hobbitses, snooty little hobbitses.
Am I in Mordor right now? Holy fuck!
It's
precious. You ruined it. You ruined it.
And I know you can't hear it, but it's coming through really.
Is it? I was trying to like move. Yeah. I was trying to like move closer to the microphone to make sure. And then Jigglypuff from Pokémon.
It's kind of similar.
It's like a similar tone, which is like so like Leela or Stitch. I can do so. I'll do like. Wow.
I'm in Lavender Town right now.
And then I gotta remember, like, Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
This fucking guy. I'm in Hawaii right now. Where's Lilo's little accent?
But that's like I just used to do like imitations and everything, and like have you ever seen Big Mouth?
Yeah.
So you know the old hormone monster?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
They all kind of have similar pitches and tones.
Well, like, and those aren't the only ones I could do. Like I could do like I'll give you one that I love doing. Roz from Monsters Inc. I love that one. I could do like that one. Might be my best.
Mike Wazowski.
Wazowski, you didn't turn in your paperwork last night.
Where's Sully at, man?
But it's just like when I was little, like I used to, and not saying my voices are the best,
right?
But it's just like I used to imitate what I saw, and then I would just kind of keep doing it, and then it was just like boom, like I could do some voices, I could do some imitations. You know what I mean? Like Maury, it's like I'm not even gonna say some of the stuff he says. That's a very crude show.
Oh, Maury?
Yeah, Maury from Big Mouth.
I thought you said Morty, but then I realized you said
yeah. But it's just like I just
crying,
love doing them.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's something I would really like to get into. You know what I mean?
Voice acting.
Oh, I would love it.
Dude,
but it's just like trying to figure out how to do it.
Wild, bro. Sorry for how excited I'm getting right now. I literally talked about being a voice actor in college.
Really?
I swear to God. I was just like, dude, it's so awesome. Like, if someone gives you a character and you see, like, a visual of what they look like, and then you pitch your voice to how you think it's supposed to sound like
yeah,
shit like that.
But I was
cool.
I was also watching, and another YouTuber that I love watching is Brizzy Voices. Shout out to you. You are amazing. She does a lot of good.
She does Pokemon?
She does Pokemon. She does Harry Potter. She does.
Did you show me a video of hers before?
I might have.
Because I feel like that name sounds familiar.
She does all types of voices.
Right.
And it's like I remember like one of her episodes was she did every single Pokemon. Like of the original 151.
I think that's what the video you showed me was.
And it's just like she's
like,
awesome.
I gotta get myself in the character, and she's like, Brah! And then she did some voice,
like did a Charizard, like, Brah! And it's just like great.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like that's something else too that I think is really cool, and it's something I wish I actually would have kind of pursued a little more. Not saying it's too late. Right. I could try it, but I got to figure out how. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
And it's just like. I don't know. It's just something else I love doing. But like Lord of the Rings definitely got me like thinking about like the voices and everything. Just like I love it. I love doing it. It's great. But all right. So I talked about Lord of the Rings. What about you? Something else non-comic book related. So
I actually just talked about this recently at work. Surprisingly. At the dumb meeting we went to. I don't care if anyone hears it that works at Nike. It was dumb. You guys all, let me look right at the camera. You guys all know it was stupid, and it was dumb, and it was ridiculous.
Unnecessary.
But anyway.
I've been there. It's all the same information.
We talked about kind of like dreams that we had as a kid. I don't know how we got on it, but I think it had something to do with a campaign somebody was doing or something like that. But Mark.
Yeah.
In the parking lot, alumni, OG. We gotta try to get him on this too.
Yeah, we really do.
We gotta try to get all the guys on here eventually. But anyway, we were talking about dreams. He's like, "What did you dream of being as a kid?" And I was like, "Well, I always wanted to be some type of athlete. Yeah, preferably a basketball player because that's what I was really into."
I was hockey.
But I think every kid would have that.
Oh yeah, it was so one aspect, one of
it had
variation.
To be, it was like astronaut, professional athlete, president, maybe things like that.
If you were really into like that.
But
stuff.
Anyway, I was like, so that's kind of like stereotypical of him. But he's like, but something I really was into, and he was like, what was that? And I'm like, I really want to be an animator. It's preferably for Pixar.
Yeah.
Which is not Disney Pixar, but. Preferably for Pixar.
Right.
So, with that being said, Disney Pixar movies, I'm a fan. Toy Story.
Did you ever see the, not to cut you off, did you ever see the little tidbit in every single Disney Pixar movie?
As far as like...
There's like an Easter egg in like every single one. Every single movie.
As soon as you tell me, I'm probably going to remember, but what is it?
It's I forget the number. It might be like 216 or something like that.
Right.
So it's at some point it's in every single Disney Pixar movie.
Yeah.
So they tried to figure out like why it's in all the movies. So apparently going through like because you have to go through to be a Disney Pixar animator, you have to go through their courses.
Yeah.
They have to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the room numbers for the animators was
216.
We'll use 216 for this, but I forget the number. But 216 was the room number.
Right.
So all of the animators put it in.
They would animate that into a cell just to be like, oh yeah, we remember where we came from. Kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's cool.
It's very.
I actually didn't know that.
That's almost
super cool.
It's almost impossible to see unless one, you know it's there, or two, you watch like how I found out. Like I watched a video that pointed it out.
Right.
Because it was like some of them are like. The numbers on a phone, it was just like the numbers weren't in the right spot. It was like 216. or
it was like a
stuff like that.
sequence of numbers referring to the room, one of the rooms that they would be
Right, or just like on a piece of paper, like literally, like I think one was like a piece of paper flying by in a scene, and it just said like page number 216. Like, you know what I mean? Like it had like
I'm gonna look that up.
over.
That's really cool.
It is. They have a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
I forget who had it, but
No, I'm sure.
it's real. It was really cool.
So, Disney, Pixar, animated, pretty much. Like, obviously, that's mostly what Disney does. But I like what both places were doing, even before Disney. Did Disney always own Pixar?
No,
They were their own studio for a little bit.
It was Pixar for a little bit, but then
Disney was
Disney's had them for a long time.
Disney was
now.
like, hey, we're Disney. Come
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, just like Fox, R.I.P.
So, the Disney/Pixar and Disney Pixar movies.
Yeah.
We're talking like Lilo and Stitch, Toys R Us, Monsters Inc., Toys R Us, Toy Story, Monsters Inc.
R.I.P.
You know, even some of the newer stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that.
Lilo and Stitch was Disney Pixar?
Lilo and Stitch was Disney. I'm talking like just animation in general.
Like in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so with that, you can go Hercules, like Emperor's New Groove, things like that.
That one. Very underrated one.
For sure. David Spade's kind of annoying. I think that's why a lot of people like him. But to kind of stick with animation for me, anime was a big thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Dragon Ball Z, huge Dragon Ball Z fan. Let me actually, hopefully this doesn't mess up audio or video or anything. But boom! This guy is looking at us every single time we record this podcast. Now he's going to look at the camera.
That's our thumbnail.
Right here.
Yeah.
Thumbnail. Right here.
But,
Boom. So,
like on Adult Swim.
Goku, go back.
Remember when it was on Adult Swim?
Yeah. So
Ball Z.
Adult Swim, but then, because it couldn't stay up late all the time, that moved into Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon shows, Cartoon Network.
Oh,
shows.
yeah.
That
I was going to say they put it on Cartoon Network, but now I know what you're
well, like so.
saying. Yeah.
Toonami, things like that.
Yeah.
Were on Cartoon Network, but then, you know, anything that I always kind of liked. I always liked anything that was drawn in any fashion.
Yeah.
I like drawing. I haven't drawn in a while. I'm actually going to be drawing the logo for the show. Probably tonight, because I think I work kind of a long shift tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to get the juices out, the creative juices flowing. But that's all conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, anime, I would argue, is Marvel adjacent, I would say, but not necessarily Marvel. And then obviously that goes into mangas, and all that stuff that has to do with, not a huge, like, crazy anime fan, but, you know, your stereotypical, like, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto,
Never watched it.
One Piece. They're all really cool, but they're all extremely long.
Yeah.
Like Naruto, I think, went for like 500 episodes or something like that.
Wow.
Like, long, very long time.
I started watching Attack on Titan.
That's a new one that I was into. Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Death Note. All those other things.
Oh, what was the one? What was the one?
Anything that basically talked about, like, superhero adjacent people.
Jake Geltz. Did you ever meet? That was Emily's brother.
No, I never met him. Does he work at ShopRite?
Yes. Yeah, the
in
one
Lawnside?
Yeah.
I totally saw him today. He doesn't know who I am, so I think it would have been weird. Like, oh my god, I know who you are.
Oh, he showed me an anime that I really liked that I thought was pretty. Oh, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, FMA, Full Metal Alchemist, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, that one was really cool. Like he showed me, he introduced me to that, and that was really cool.
Yeah, so that would be my comic book adjacent fandoms that I'd be into.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. Can you think of anything?
No. I mean, this was a fun episode. I like this.
No, it was super fun.
It was cool, like reliving childhood and everything like that.
Sparked a thing in my head. Why don't
light the bulb?
Because movies don't come out every day that we want to see.
Right.
They come out like every week, but whatever. Why don't we do episodes dedicated to a certain fandom?
I'd be.
And then maybe bring people on. Like we could do a DC episode when we talk about Batman and Superman and try to get Brandon here.
Yeah.
Because he's a huge Batman fan.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do that. Definitely show ideas. I like it.
Yeah, and then we could do like an episode on Disney. I feel like we could both talk about that for forever. We can do
top 5, why they are. I already have that show planned. I already have that show scripted.
In his head, I have to script it and write it down.
I'm a Disney kid.
But we could even talk about like the Cartoon Network shows, like Ed and Eddie, Rocket Power.
Yeah.
Was Rocket Power Cartoon Network?
Rocket Power is Nickelodeon.
But
woogity.
Ed and Eddie, Rocket Power, Billy and Mandy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Rugrats even, Cat Dog, Hey Arnold.
Cat Dog. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. I wasn't the biggest Scooby-Doo fan, but we totally talk about Scooby-Doo. Not like...
What?
OD. I like Scooby-Doo, but not like OD, like... Oh, I remember episode 523 of Scooby-Doo was...
I feel personally attacked right now.
You should be. No, I'm kidding.
I love it. Because then they did like the What's New Scooby-Doo. They did the kids version of it. And then, oh my god.
They did a lot of spin-offs.
We're coming after you.
Like Scrappy-Doo and shit.
Scrappy-Doo. Yes. I like... Well, Scrappy-Doo was a dick in the live-action movie. He was the bad guy. Bad dog. He was a bad dog. He wasn't a good boy.
I don't remember that.
He wasn't a good boy.
Movie. He was not a good boy.
He was not a good boy.
No good boys. No good boys. He's a bad boy.
Spoiler. Sorry. He's the bad guy.
You know, we could even talk about... We both probably would talk about Crash Bandicoot for fucking ages.
God. Yeah.
Spyro.
I gotta get the remastered.
Things like that.
Of Spyro.
I might low-key get Crash Kart Racing, Team Racing. What's the new one?
That's right. I forgot. The Nitro Fueled.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that Pop. Crash
that's right.
Kart. Super cool.
I still have to finish my Crash Pop set. Yeah. But...
I kind of gave up on sets.
I think Uka Uka and Nitro are going to be my 2 toughest ones to find.
That's the mask, right?
The mask is Uka Uka, and then Nitro is the villain.
Okay. Interesting.
But they're like the ones that I can't find.
I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah.
If we go to that Luke and Cades that I was telling you about in Random Woodbury.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They might low-key have something.
Yeah.
Crash adjacent.
Okay. Yeah, but other than that, it's a fun episode.
No, it was definitely fun, and we went. Not as long as usual, but we still went a lot longer than we thought.
Yeah, we thought this one was only going to be a half hour.
Let's say we were recording for like an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So, honestly, really, the main focus of this episode was to kind of put the background to the co-hosts that are on this show.
Correct.
It was more for us to show you why we decided to do this. Because honestly, the show was Eli's idea. He was the one that brought it to me.
Kinda.
Well, and it's true.
Well, this show in specific, or the podcast in general.
Well, this show and the podcast in general.
I mean, I'll take a little bit of credit, but I feel like
the one that came to me.
At the end of the day, I think it was a group effort, but I think we were super passionate about it.
Yeah.
Which is why we took steps to get towards where we're at.
Because honestly, and again, another part was, and we still do this. After every movie, we literally sit in the parking lot for hours on end talking about it, and then we come on, do this, have the same conversation essentially with a little more in depth and things like that.
Because then we're watching videos, Easter egg things, and
so
we're reading articles and stuff like that.
But that again, the main point of this video this podcast was to get a little personal look into mine and Eli's fandoms.
Yeah, for sure.
So this was definitely a fun episode. I like this one a lot.
I think last comment before we outro would be, don't be afraid to kind of stay within your fandom and express that. Luckily, how the internet goes now, you could reach a lot of people. For instance,
it's a lot easier.
If you like anime, go on Reddit. There's a ton of subreddits that have to do with different animes and things like that. So there's always a community with something, and I think that's the biggest thing is...
stay with what you love.
Yeah. Try to be within the community, because then, you might be feeling how we felt as kids wherever you're at, because, it might be a small town, or you might be, a little kind of edged out or a little nervous about kind of expressing how you feel about certain things.
Because again, some people grow out of the stuff, and which is nothing wrong with that either. But it's for the people that don't, and they stick with it, and it's something they're real passionate about. So you continue to stay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Try to keep the kid, man.
Yeah, because that's honestly that's the best way to go through life.
Definitely.
You know, because that's honestly without that this show probably wouldn't be a thing.
Probably
if we didn't get back into it. You know.
If anything, I might have done blog posts. But probably not.
No.
So, with that being said, thank you for joining us again in the parking lot.
Fellow loiterers.
Episode 8, right? We talked about this? Was
yes,
episode 8? Cool. 8. So, my name is Elias, aka Eli. You can find me on the Twitters and the Instagrams at Ekaram, EKARAM 32. M as in Mary is the last part. On Twitter and Instagram, and gentleman to my right.
And aka Pepper. Again, I'm only on Instagram really much, so Pepper31. And then my other YouTube channel with the Pokemon, with my Pokemon openings, is Pep's Poké Reveals. Now that is on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all is Pep's Poké Reveals, so definitely go check that out.
For sure.
I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway soon because I'm close to 200 subscribers.
Cool. 190?
I'm at 182 after.
Oh, cool.
The last time I checked today, I'm at 182.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Good work. Stay nerdy. Stay fandom. Stay community. Things of that nature.
Do what you love.
There you go. That's a weird thing. Peace. Boop. That didn't work. Boop. That worked.
That worked.